one of the benefits of the fancy new recording software that I bought is that I can now assign custom colors and custom photos or like little icons to each of us. So currently my color is red and your color is blue. Is that okay with you?
Blue would not be my choice.
Okay. What do you want?
Do you get to pick your shade, or is it just
Yeah,
like here's 5 colors?
there's some options. You don't get like the full RGB spectrum, but you get a good amount of options.
Now, what I would prefer would require for you to change yours, because I would prefer a burgundy or a maroon.
There actually isn't. There's not browns and grays. It's like bright, happy colors.
Well, I don't want any of that. There's no olive or mustard.
I want a
or-
sad color.
There's no olive or mustard or anything?
There's a mustard or an olive. I mean, like there's.
Okay, well, neither of those are bright, so...
It's like all the colors that can be bright. Like there's no such thing as like a bright brown.
Burgundy is not brown.
No, but I'm saying there's no browns because there's no way to have a happy brown.
Yeah, but mustard and olive are just yellow and green with some brown.
I know, but I don't know. I don't pick these colors.
And burgundy doesn't even have brown. It's just red and blue.
Here, let me pull up the colors and I'll just kind of describe them to you.
Okay.
So from left to right, they have red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, and magenta. So they have most of like the rainbow. They have the rainbow. They just don't have like black or white, and they don't have that many darker. They have 4 options for like each color.
Oh.
Well, kind of more than 4, maybe 8, but.
What do you mean by options? Like,
Well, like there's like the bright version, and then there's more and more black added in beneath it.
so it sounds like there could be a burgundy. If you take a red and make it darker.
Yeah, kind of. It gets more into brown though. I think the burgundy actually looks closer to the darker magentas.
Well, it seems like you might be a bit unwilling to budge with your colors. So.
No, I'll make it whatever it needs to be.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll take of the basic colors. I'll take orange.
Okay. We'll post a photo in the show notes if anyone else wants to see this. This is a great podcast conversation. Well, we are back home from our dog sitting adventures.
And it's really nice to be home. Princess is loving it. I think maybe even more than we are. She's really appreciating her space and her privacy, and more importantly, her full, uninterrupted access to us. She doesn't have to fight anybody else.
Well, she wasn't fighting with the other dogs.
No, but she doesn't have to compete with any other dog for our affection.
Correct.
Yes. To be clear, we were not having dog fights at our house.
Yeah. She got along okay with the other dogs. Like, they were all fine. But they got into this weird, worked up triangle. The oldest and smallest dog is very protective whenever she gets a treat. Now, she doesn't even want it or really eat it, but she just doesn't want anyone else to have it.
Yeah, she likes to guard it, and then after a few hours, she will give the treat to the bigger dog.
Right.
But she likes to guard it with her life, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So she'll get the treat and then guard it for several hours. And I think their other dog would just kind of try to rush her sometimes. Like, okay, are you done with it yet? Because I want it. And so she would just kind of like hang around the older dog with the treat. And then if Princess got anywhere near, she would just assume, I guess, that Princess is going to steal the treat out from under her. So then they would all 3 end up yapping at each other. Even though nothing's happening, like no one's really being aggressive.
No.
But they're just, I guess they're all barking no bite.
Yeah. See, that's interesting. From my perspective, the way it looked is that Teeny is guarding her treat, And anytime Bo was around, Teeny would get protective of it and start growling. So then Bo would yip at her. For some reason, Princess would get involved and
Yeah.
start yipping too.
Not her battle.
No. And then there are either two options. Bo would get closer to Teeny and focus his yapping at Princess. And it could be that either A, he is like protecting Teeny, like he thinks Princess is gonna do something and so he's protecting Teeny, or B, he is protecting his birthright to that treat and keeping Princess from getting to it.
Yeah, you're not going to lure him away from his birthright with some soup.
Yes. Anyways, it was always so interesting whenever this played out. And Bo, he kind of gets the game. You know, he plays this game a lot. He understands how it goes. Teeny's going to get her treat. She's going to growl and she's going to protect it and she's going to act mean. And he knows that eventually he'll get the treat. But Princess does not know this game. This is very unfamiliar to her. So I think there just was probably some miscommunication happening because she was left out of the loop.
In fairness to Princess, even being in the same room as the dog with the treat was like too much for her to handle.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't even like Princess was like sniffing it or something like that. Like she was just walking through the living room and it would, just be set off. Eventually we just stuck one of the dog and that dog changed outside.
Yeah. We would alternate what dogs were outside and just trying to keep everyone separated until Teeny could calm down and loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, could just get a grip and give Bo her treat.
It's really kind of cute. It's obnoxious then because it's, difficult to actually get stuff done when I've got to make sure everyone's safe. But it's kind of a cute thing to just sit there and protect your treat and growl and growl and growl and know that she's going to do absolutely nothing. I don't really know if this is a thing in dogs, but I think that Princess is an introvert. To be clear, she loves people. She enjoys socializing. She's very outgoing and super cool. So it's not that she has a problem with other people. I think that she just needs her time to herself. In the same way that human introverts, that doesn't mean that they don't want to be around people. It doesn't mean that they don't like people, but it means that being with people is draining and that you need to have some time to yourself to kind of build your energy back up. And she's the same way, I've determined. So
yeah, I'm sure you're not anthropomorphizing her at all.
I think that is a totally reasonable thing to assess. I know we've talked about how she will fake injuries to get some space out of social situations. And she wasn't really able to have any time or space to herself over the last 3 weeks.
So you mean like the dog equivalent of having a headache or needing to do homework?
Yes, just like that.
I can't come tonight. Sorry, I got so much homework. Big paper.
To be clear, I still do that to this day. Oh, so busy. I'm so busy. I just got to go home. So much to do. Sorry.
I do it because I actually have lots to do. Speak for yourself. I don't lie about that stuff.
Okay. Anyway, so she didn't really have any time to herself over the last 3 weeks, and I noticed that her behaviors started, I don't know how to say it. I noticed that she started acting out a bit, generally just being more stubborn. She didn't really want to go outside. She would just stand in the doorway and stare at me as I begged her to come outside with the rest of the dogs. And just little things like that where, yeah, she just got strangely defiant. I don't know. It was weird, but I think she was just kind of drained and tired. So I'm glad that we are all back home.
Yes. While their house was nice, there's nothing quite like being back in your own crib.
Hey, MTV, welcome to my crib. This is where the magic happens. This is where I take naps with my dog.
Well, I really went on a tear this week getting stuff posted on the website. I've mentioned before that I've had lots of stuff just sitting around waiting to be posted, and I just haven't ever got around to it. So this week I did a few of them. I still have more I need to post, but I'm a lot closer to being caught up now. The first video was one I made while I was driving home from work. I was just pulling out and I heard this really weird buzzing sound, like zzz, and I thought, that's a weird sound. I haven't heard that before. And so I kind of looked around, and then I saw that this transformer was just sparking like crazy. Transformers are like the little like bucket-looking thing that are on the top of a telephone or on top of the electrical wire.
Oh, yeah. So not
an Autobot.
Okay.
No. Or a Deceptibot.
Decepticon?
Decepticon. Yeah.
That just sounds like an evil company from a Bond movie.
Decepticon Inc.
Or like Facebook.
Yeah. Deceptibook. Anyways. So I just pulled over and filmed it for a few minutes. Honestly, I think the sound is actually the coolest part.
Huh.
And of course, the video doesn't really capture it exactly what I saw, but it was neat. That's just kind of a short, random, dumb video. I also got some photos posted from a few months ago. There was a challenge in our photography group to take a fictional photograph. So I think I posted the photo of Olivia where she's like half in color, half in black and white. And she has like an old phone and a new phone. Anyways, it's kind of cool. But I posted those as well. I also posted some photos from when we were dog sitting at Sam Rayburn. There were a few nice kind of, landscape lake shots in there. One of those photos won an honorable mention at the June gallery show. And lastly, I finished editing some video that we and some friends took, I think in 2016. We were staying at an old country club in San Augustine that some friends own.
Well, we were really staying on some property where there was also an abandoned country club.
Yeah.
We weren't like staying in the abandoned.
Yeah, we were camping in tents like normal, but also on the same property, there was an abandoned kind of mansion as well as a country club. Shelby and I have always liked abandoned things. And so we grabbed our iPhones and kind of walked around for a bit. And
it was fun to go through all of these abandoned spaces with our friends. Everyone that was on the camping trip came and we just walked through all of it. I was really nervous, of course, about some kind of structure failing. The country club was not in too bad of shape. Like, I could walk through most of it without fear of something falling apart.
Yeah, it was fine.
There were some spaces, like, kind of once you got into some rooms, like rooms that had been stayed in, it was a little bit more concerning because you could see like how the ceiling was falling apart. But the lobby and kitchen area and stuff like that was totally fine. I don't think we walked through the actual mansion on the property at all because it was really overgrown.
Yeah, the mansion, I think the roof hadn't held up as well as the clubhouse. And from what I can tell, the roof plays a big part in how quickly a structure will deteriorate.
That makes sense.
After it's no longer occupied. So the roof did not hold up at all. I think a big tree kind of crashed into it at one point.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
It was in a more wooded area. So a tree had fallen, it messed up the roof, and then that had kind of started a series of events that led to it being in pretty bad shape. So I don't think anyone went in any part of it. We kind of walked around the whole outside, and we could, kind of peer in some windows and things like that. But this was a family friend of ours that owned the property, and I know whenever I was a kid, two of their kids were wandering around, and one of them like fell through 2 or 3 stories in
No
that same
way.
house. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I did not remember hearing about that.
Yeah, I don't think the house was in as bad of shape back then because this was probably 10 years ago. But now he was being dumb, so like
I'm sure. Was this the mansion or the clubhouse?
it was the mansion, I believe. Yeah. And he was fine. He was kind of shaken up, but no big deal for him.
That's wild.
There actually was a pool that was at the country club, and they actually kept the pool going for longer because even though the building was kind of crumbling around it, they still just wanted to have a pool there, and so they would still, keep it chlorinated and things like that. But eventually they gave up on that too.
Was the pool house usable?
I don't think so. And to be clear, we did have permission to go look at all this stuff.
Yes,
We weren't
did.
trespassing.
Yeah. There was a lot of water in the pool, but like old, nasty
Like
rainwater.
Swamp water.
It was bad. It was nasty. I can't remember who, but I think one of our friends like got up on the edge and was walking on the edge of the pool. Or am I making that up?
One of our friends was jumping up and down on the diving board.
Ugh.
The essence of tempting fate. And
It'd
so I
be
filmed
so
him.
easy for that to break.
I filmed him for a bit. I was like, "Hey, RJ, why don't we just see, if you're gonna fall into a pool in a stupid way, like let's get it on film."
In a nasty pool.
Yeah, if you're gonna get some sort of weird flesh-eating bacteria from this, might as well get it on film. It was neat.
That was a really great trip. We were camping out right near the pond on the property. And so the mornings were gorgeous because you'd wake up kind of as the sun was mostly risen by the time we were getting up. But, we'd wake up around 6 or 7. And the whole pond and the trees around it were just covered in fog. It was so beautiful. I think we were there in the fall.
Yeah, it was October.
Yeah, so, the evenings and the mornings were all cold and,
but not,
gosh.
We say cold for us, like barely cold at all.
Some people were like sleeping in jeans under their sleep pants. So for some people it was cold.
Yeah, but just...
We all wore jackets, There was no snowfall.
No.
There was nobody was buying special sleeping bags for the cold or anything like that. It was
mummy bags.
totally normal.
But that was a lot of fun, and I don't even know why it took me 3 years to edit it, but I obviously wasn't editing it the whole time. It just kind of sat on a hard drive, and I forgot about it. Then I'd find it again, and I would do some work on it, and I would think, I need to get this posted, and also just I want to see what it looks like at the end. And then I would forget about it, and then like a year later, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta buckle down and really finish this."
I haven't seen it yet, so I'm excited to go watch it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyways, I'll put a link to all these posts in the show notes if you want to look at one or all of them. That's the only options, one or all 4.
There's no in between.
Or none.
Yeah. I and my coworkers at my mom's office attended a CPR and basic life support training on Thursday. Mom organized this. She's been wanting all of us to get CPR certified, so she was also attending.
Your mom really likes for herself to be educated and her staff. Like, she really believes in education almost more than anyone that I know.
Definitely. Like, she gets so hype about her continuing education courses for chiropractic.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about before that, like, she'll fly her whole staff every year to Las Vegas to the big convention there to get.
They don't go every year, but they go every few
Okay.
years.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. She is so passionate about education that she is the chair of the education committee for the Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners. So she is in charge of continuing education for all the chiropractors in the state. So she's pretty passionate about it.
That may not sound like much, but it actually is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. So we had our CPA course. Nope. CPA is a different thing.
Yeah, you had your
We're
you had
now
your
all
part-time
certified
accountant.
accountants.
Yeah.
So we had our CPR course on Thursday. And, I knew it was going to take a few hours, and I've done the class before, and I don't know, nobody's really looking forward to one of these kinds of classes. And once I got there, I realized, oh no, wait. This is going to be great. I'm going to love this. These CPR courses are exactly the kind of class for me. You have a little bit of class time where you sit and you watch your video, and your instructor, kind of gives you some lessons and things like that. And then you get to show off your skills right there in real time in front of all your classmates. And it's so good.
It just sounds like you want to be teacher's pet.
I do. I was always teacher's pet. Well, not always. Sometimes. There was 2 years where I wasn't, but outside of that, I was always teacher's pet.
I was a teacher's pet, but not in a conventional sense. not a traditional teacher's pet. Well, what it was that I was smart and I paid attention in class, and so I would generally do well in all of my courses. And so, in my free time in the class, I would then, give the teacher a hard time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
In a variety of different ways. And so the teachers across the board liked me. All of my college professors really liked me. I would visit them after hours. When I still bump into them at Walmart, they always say hi and are interested in how I'm doing. I even failed. The only course that I failed was the psychology course. And I bumped into the professor at Walmart, and we had a great conversation. So I really did well in the classes, and but yeah, I would just give them a hard time. I don't want to say the class clown. That's not quite right, but
yeah, you have to be funny to be the class clown. You were your own class clown. We'll say that.
Yeah, I was the clown of my class of one.
You were entertaining yourself in a manner that was distracting everyone else from the class. But you were having a good time.
Yeah, maybe that's a better way to put it. I was acting as if I was the class clown, just with no jokes, with no funny material. No, or what I would call traditional jokes.
Yes. On the other hand, I was both teacher's pet. I was never class clown, but I was always a little bit funny. So I was never the funniest person in class.
No.
But I was pretty funny, but every teacher loved me. Again, except for that 1 year. It was middle school. Awful year. I got terrible grades. I was not liked by my teachers. I was liked by some of my teachers, but
what grade?
It was 8th grade. I can't remember. I think it was called is it in-school suspension? I think I was on in-school suspension.
Wow.
All year.
What a bad girl.
I know, and I never did anything bad. I was just getting
they just
bad.
Put you there just because they felt like it.
Let me finish. I wasn't doing anything bad. I was just getting bad grades. So I wasn't acting out or anything like that. But their in-school suspension was basically, instead of having lunch out in the courtyard, you had lunch in a classroom. And you worked on your homework during lunchtime.
That's so ineffective.
It's really bad. And I wasn't in ISS for the whole year, but
So you were suspended even though you also weren't doing anything cool and or fun.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You were just bad at being a nerd.
I was getting really bad grades. Like, I was doing really poorly in math. A lot of my teachers generally liked me. My science teacher, I was not doing well in his class. He liked me. My ag teacher liked me. Ag, I was in ag, and we learned about cows and FFA, and he really liked me. But that was a rough year. I was not funny then. I was not funny. I was very sad. I wore the same sweatshirt every day. And in the summer, I would just wear the sweatshirt.
That's a good look.
Yeah.
Yeah, wearing hoodies in the summer.
Yep.
That's a familiar good look.
In the summer, I would just wear the sweatshirt as a shirt because it's too hot to wear a sweatshirt. So I would just wear the sweatshirt by itself. I was so far from cool.
You weren't self-conscious at all.
I didn't have body image issues. It's fine. Outside of that, I was always a really good student, and I was always a little bit funny, and all my teachers liked me. But you, Nate, your situation is that when we are about town and we run into your high school physics teacher, she, like, as she talks to us, she's rolling her eyes at everything you say because she's just getting these flashbacks to you in her
That doesn't mean she doesn't
classroom.
like me.
That's not entirely untrue, but you were like basically doing the verbal equivalent of like throwing paper balls all over the classroom. Like, you were just audibly distracting, but in a way that was like still
I
somewhat-
wasn't distracting too much because I was
You-
aware that other people like needed to pay attention and things like that.
Yeah. And I guess like your distractions were everything that you were saying was still like about the class.
Yeah, it was on topic. And I also did like contribute meaningful things to the discussion. Like that's why they liked me, because I actually was a good student overall, and
You participated.
I participated and I would help other students. Like, I was walking through the English building one time, and a girl from my math class stopped me and was like, "Hey, you're always talking in math class, so you must understand it." So she said, "Can you please help me with like today's quiz?" She said, "You're always talking, so you must understand it."
I love the idea of a of a stranger coming up to you and starting off with saying, "Hey, you're always talking."
I did help her. Like, I did know what the problem was.
That's very good. Anyway, so back to my story.
Yeah, enough of this funny business.
Back to important life-saving skills. Throughout the course, our instructor would kind of ask us questions, have us repeat what the video just told us, things like that to make sure that we were picking up on the important parts of the lesson. And then between sections, we would practice what we just learned. So we would practice all these skills on our mannequin dummy guy. And I really enjoyed having an opportunity to like show up the other people in the class.
It was a competition.
For me, yes.
Yeah, everyone loves that kid who makes
yeah.
everything a competition that isn't.
Yeah.
I got to the water fountain first. Ooh.
So I generally did well on it. Of course, the first thing that we practiced were compressions. And I was like really good at it. Like, I was going as deep as you're supposed to go, and my pacing was good. And
Did you have like the little dummies to practice on?
Yeah. Yeah. And these newer ones are really nice.
Ooh.
They're responsive, and so they have like a little light. Not
Like their ribs crack when you do it, or they scream or something.
no. If a person screams, you should not be doing CPR. If
Yeah,
they're responsive,
that means you've done it good. Whenever they start screaming, they open their eyes. Like, oh my gosh, you saved my life. Not realistic like that.
Nope. But they have these lights on their shoulders that basically help like indicate to you if your pace is good, like if you need to speed up or slow down with it. And when you do your compressions, it kind of clicks inside when you've gone like how deep you're supposed to. So basically the whole time that you're doing your compressions, you're practicing how to do it correctly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't require the instructor to stand right there beside you, beside each individual person, and tell them what they need to do differently, because you can tell what you need to do differently. Anyways, but every compression, I was like getting deep. I was going just the right pace. And I was like watching some of my other coworkers.
You can't see it home. Shelby's also now doing compressions on the air because she's so excited about it.
But I could look over and see some of my other coworkers struggle with it a little bit. And, then I could go and say, oh, well, this is what I'm doing that's helping me make it easy,
Gosh, you sound awful.
I know. Well, it wasn't as bad in person, but some of those compressions are really difficult to do, especially as a shorter woman, if you're not strong. Like if you don't have a lot of upper body strength.
If you're a weakling.
Yeah, basically, yes. And I am. But by like getting up on my tiptoes and using my body more to do my compressions, it made it a lot easier. You can use your body more effectively to get deep, because that's one of the harder parts of doing these compressions. And so I could see that some of my coworkers were trying to do it more with just like just by bending their back and not really using their whole body. So I had an opportunity to kind of use what I had just used in trying it out to help some of my coworkers, and they got better at it and it got easier. And that felt really good, both to be good at something and to help someone else get better. There were other things that I wasn't as good at that my coworkers helped me learn. But generally...
Like being a team player?
Nate, I was being a very good team player. I don't know. I mean, I know
That's really good that you know how to do compression, Shelby. Let me teach you about how to be a team player and not be an obnoxious know-it-all.
I had
an equally important life skill as CPR.
I had a really hard time using the bag, like using the airbag.
The bag?
Yeah, you've got, I can't remember what it's called now, but you've got the mask that goes over the mouth and the nose, and then you've got the big, like, they call it a bag, and you squeeze it to put the air in. There's a few different ways that basically you can do what used to be part of like mouth to mouth.
Yeah, mouth to mouth.
And now that's like not recommended.
Yeah. That's actually an interesting story, because my memory of it is that mouth to mouth is effective when used with compressions, but that it grossed people out so much that rather than just doing compressions, people were just doing nothing because they didn't want to do the mouth to mouth. And so they've actually changed their recommendations, and they've just said, listen, just do compressions. Even though compressions with mouth to mouth is better, that it's better to do compressions than be grossed out and do nothing.
Yes. Now they give out masks with little one-way filters as part of your CPR course. And that's what you are supposed to use. And those masks are in like AED kits and things like that. They still want you to do the breaths, but now they try to give you the tools to do it in a way that's more effective and you're more likely to actually use.
Yeah.
So you have the option to use the mask with either the filter and just put your mouth on the filter, or to use a bag where you aren't exhaling any of your own air. You are just using a bag that pumps air to them. And I was really bad at doing that. I have small hands, so it's difficult to hold the mask on their face and get a good enough seal with only one hand. And when you just do it with your mouth, you can hold the seal on with two hands. But with a bag, you need the other hand to pump the bag. So that was a thing that I needed my coworkers to kind of help show me how they were holding it so that I could get my grip better. So anyways, it was a very good learning experience. I feel super qualified to give CPR now.
Good.
Yeah. Also, there's a written test at the end. And I did finish my test first. And I got a 100.
Did you get a sticker or
No.
a gold star or something?
I will get like a
for being
license.
such a good student.
I will get a license in an email sometime soon.
Oh, you can print it out. Keep that in your wallet.
Yeah. Anyways, it was fun. It was something that I wasn't looking forward to, but it ended up being just exactly my element.
That's good. It's great to do something that is fun and that you're competent at and that also matters. That's a great combination.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up our week.
I think it does.
All right.
See you
next time.